This is episode 134 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Welcome to episode 134 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today I have Ara Poladian on the show, and Ara actually reached out to me. He wanted to be on the show to tell a little bit about his story, which is actually quite inspiring. He took a new job right before the first lockdown and lost it 3 weeks later. And rather than just collect benefits, he actually went out and started his own construction company. He's an engineer by trade, started his own construction company and started doing his own renovation projects on his own and more. So he's a real estate investor and an entrepreneur, and it happened out of necessity, which I can relate to a lot. A lot of what happened with me and how I dove in head first into my first BRRRR, which I actually ended up selling, was I had no other options. I really didn't have anything else that was working for me at the time, no other primary source of income, and I had to make it work. So with no other options, it's funny how people seem to find a way. And Ara's story is certainly inspiring, and we also go through some case studies. This guy is definitely able to pull off some perfect BRRRRs, and it'll be exciting to watch what he does going forward. And I have no doubt that several of the people listening to this are probably going to want to touch base with him regarding renovations in the future. So before we get into it, I just want to ask you, as I usually do, and if you haven't already done it, please do. If you have already done it, thank you very much. But please just take a moment and rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. As I've mentioned, the show has been tracking quite well in the all-time investing category on iTunes, right around number 15. And I'd love to push it up and see how high we can make it on that list. So I'd really appreciate it if you could go ahead and do that, and it'll help more people to find the show. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And leave a comment. Let Ara know what you think of the episode. I'd really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into episode 134 with Ara Poladian. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Ara Poladian.
Poladian, you got it, yeah.
Here on the podcast today. Ara, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So you reached out to me and we ended up chatting a little bit, and you got into a little bit of your story and decided to have you on the podcast. So why don't you just tell for our audience how you got into real estate investing and what you're up to right now?
Yeah, so I'm 28 years old, structural engineer by trade. I went to actually McMaster University, and after graduating, I did a little bit of structural design for a consulting firm, and then most of my through co-ops and everything like that was project management. So I diverted back to that route. And I was kind of coasting with that. I thought I was part of the project management team. I thought I'd be a project manager and just be building condos and apartments basically. And COVID was kind of the biggest eye opener for me. It was a big slap in the face. I actually left the company I was at and took a new job literally 3 weeks before COVID hit.
Okay. And
obviously worst timing ever, but it was honestly the best thing to ever happen to me.
Did they lay you off?
They let me off. So I started March 16th. I remember the day after my birthday. I started March 16th, 2020. And then I got laid off April 6th. So 3 weeks later. And I saw the writing on the wall when Doug Ford kind of stopped residential construction with no permits. I was like, that's 2/3 of my project. So I kind of saw it. I saw it coming. And at the time, I was telling myself, I really want to get into real estate. We build condos and apartments all day long. And then our sister company actually did townhouses and regular houses, a big home builder in Cambridge. But I never jumped in. So I just had that comfort holding me back, really. And it wasn't until I was kind of forced to kind of really think about, where I'm heading, with my career and with my life, supporting, I'm married with 3 kids now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And at the time I only had 2. And I was like, I don't what I mean? I don't want to be working, this typical 9-to-5 grind.
Right.
Your typical stories, right? With the rat race and everything like that. So I said, you know what, I'm done with this. I've always dreamt of being an entrepreneur, running my own business. And actually at the time I was reading Mark Loeffler's book with Ian Zabo,
the fix and flip.
Yeah. So I was reading that, and then I just happened to look at the back, and it said, Mark's from Hamilton, or does a lot of work in Hamilton, a lot of investing in Hamilton. I was like, oh, like Hamilton, like I literally just finished living there for like 3-4 years. So I reached out to him, kind of just newbie, like they have no idea what to do. And his suggestion was, just start off small, look for a bungalow and make a duplex conversion. I was like, it's simple enough. So like I literally spent like a month just, really hunting down, just learning all the aspects of what to look for in a property to do a duplex conversion, what it takes, building code provisions and all that stuff. And everything I was already used to. Like when I was doing structural design, we had to know the building code. So it was nothing that was really nerve-wracking or kind of scary. So honestly, just jumped right in. Okay. It was the best time out.
So how did you jump in though?
So I reached out to a locally real estate agent. He actually happens to be a family member, but I knew he has some rental properties. So I said, okay, this will be a good person to kind of guide me through and help me out with picking up my first property. And it honestly didn't take too long. We found a place in Cambridge it's an area of Cambridge called Galt. And it honestly was perfect. Bungalow, side entrance, 1970s basement, really crappy. And I was like, telling my cousin, like, listen, this is the one. Let's put an offer on it. And then I had some family help for like co-signing because at the time, obviously, I didn't qualify for mortgages.
So no job, yeah. So you're going in trying to do an investment without a job. So you got to find a creative way to get it qualified.
Yeah. So luckily, I did get a line of credit right before. A home equity line of credit. So I knew I was okay for like renovations, but obviously needed some help with the
refinance.
With the qualifications and the refinance. So that was the kind of way to just get my foot in the door. And so we picked up my first property in June of 2020, and we just went all in with the renos. And I said to myself, since because I was somewhat handy, and I was always thinking about starting a construction company. So I said, I have the time, I'm not going to be looking for a regular job anytime soon. I might as well, dive right in and do a lot of this work myself and, just get my hands dirty. And I feel like it was the best way for me to learn like every aspect of the project.
I love it. And it's also, I don't know, there's something just so rewarding about building something with your own hands, like just honestly, being involved in it. I love that stuff.
100%.
I just wish I had more time for it.
Yeah. I mean, later on I figured out like I'm kind of selling my time.
Oh yeah. The education you get there is like a master's degree in construction.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I did my own drawings because I have AutoCAD. Okay. I bought AutoCAD for like a year subscription, had AutoCAD. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna do my own drawings. And through that, I learned every aspect of what the city is looking for. And the city of Cambridge was very, very difficult with their bylaws. They had like the 60-40 rule where 60% of the total gross floor area, they want it allocated to the main floor, 40% for the basement.
Oh, if you have a secondary apartment.
Yeah. Okay. And so my thought process was, okay, that should be pretty easy because I can just block off like a mechanical room, not finish it, and that should be good. But no, the city of Cambridge still saw that as like a livable space. Yeah. So it was a long back and forth with how is that physically possible with the bungalow? Because you're basically saying it's 50-50 always. So I had to do minor variance.
Yeah, this is the insane thing with these cities. Like I've legit put a permit package in proposing the exact same thing a friend of mine did. We used the exact same designer, same type of house. They approved his, but I got a different guy. And he didn't quite know when he asked the manager, and the manager's like, oh, no, you can't do that. That's part of, because it was my furnace room. I didn't have room, and I didn't have enough gross floor area for it. So we created a separate room that was on the main floor, but had a low ceiling, like technically wasn't livable space. He's like, no, that doesn't work in the bylaw. You have to put it, somewhere else. I had to literally go back to the drawing board, a couple months more of, getting revisions and then getting it submitted, just because I happened to get the wrong guy on the wrong day.
Exactly.
And the guy's like, no, put a notice. He didn't trust me. He's like, yeah, make sure everybody knows that if this comes back, this isn't going to be allowed. Like he was quite adamant that I was not going to get that through. I'm like, literally, you just accepted my friends.
And they don't care about that answer.
They don't care at all.
So this is my first rental property. I'm thinking my drawings are literally like mint. and I get technically rejected. They're like, do a minor variance. So, and I'm freaking out now. I've heard minor variances can go like $10,000 and this and that.
Well, there's no guarantee, right?
Exactly. And there's those guarantees.
And there's the time. There's 3 months of your time to wait.
Exactly.
But you did it.
I did it. Yeah. So, and I was even debating, because what they wanted is they wanted that furnace room that I allocated. The 60/40 worked if you didn't count that mechanical room. So what they wanted is for me to allocate that mechanical room to the upstairs.
Yeah, but it would need to be attached to the upstairs, right?
It needed to be only accessible by the upstairs. Right. So they wanted me to like basically put like a staircase, like almost
separate
like
hallway.
Yeah, or some way for them to get downstairs to the, or another separate entrance. Yeah, like a staircase hatch.
Could have done a hatch.
Yeah, one of those, or do another entrance from the back. So I'll do like a walkout just to that. So I honestly went through everything, and I just decided, you know what? Let's do the minor variance. So did the minor variance, and I actually, in the meantime, because I did start my own construction company. At the time, I was just sole proprietor. I was thinking, because I loved working with my hands so much, I said, you know what, I'll get into it, pick up some projects and get a little bit of income through that. So I was actually able to pick up a couple jobs during the minor variance time, just like some basement renos and stuff like that.
And were you doing the work yourself at that point?
I was subbing some of it out. A lot of it I was doing it myself, like framing, drywall, stuff like that, flooring. I was doing myself. So again, it was even, I was almost getting paid to practice my skills.
Oh, I mean, I thoroughly think it's well worthwhile to do. I think more people need to have these skills.
Exactly.
Need to know the basic level. If you've done it, then you can efficiently hire other people to do it.
Exactly. And then, you know, if someone's doing like a terrible job,
right,
or whatever.
I've been a huge proponent of that. I've always advocated for know the stuff. At least try the different jobs, even just briefly, just
especially
so
if you like it. Like, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. So, and I was like, hey, this is perfect. I have to wait for my minor variance. I might as well work in the meantime. So we did that, and then we had the committee of adjustments meeting, and it was a little funny to do that during COVID, just all through Zoom. Yeah, like they basically approved it, no questions asked. They're just like, I was actually surprised. Like it wasted like 2-3 hours of my time waiting for my turn to come up, and like I didn't even get.
What did they say? Like they just like, oh, this is the matter of this, you know?
Yeah, so because the planning department actually had to do a report on my behalf,
and they all recommended,
and they recommended to approve it.
Yeah,
because
that's why
it helps with their kind of proponent of bringing more legal units to the city.
Right.
So they recommended it gets approved.
But so they recommended it even though it didn't comply. So they So did they tell you when they told you to go get a minor variance? Did they say that we'll be supportive?
They kind of hinted it, but I didn't know until I officially applied for the minor variance when I got that physical report, and I was like, oh, and it was like basically like in bold letters at the end. In conclusion, we recommend that this gets passed. So yeah, and then we got the minor variance, and we just went gone home.
Another important thing, like if someone listening to this or watching this, if you have an opportunity to go through the minor variance process on something small, just so you understand what's involved, do it.
Yeah.
Because then you learn, then you internalize it. I've been through that process, not for my own property, but working on another project for someone else, and I found it very informative. Yeah. It's very useful to go through it.
And that's another reason why I reached out, hoping to get on, have a conversation, get on your podcast. I just kind of wanted to get the message out more to new people getting in that whatever might seem scary at the time really isn't down the road. Like minor things, as long as you've got a good plan B. If you need that minor variance, don't do it. Don't do it then. If that's what, if that's the only way the deal works, then that's not a good idea. Exactly. But I had exit strategies. Like I got at a good price that I knew I can literally just finish it as a normal basement and sell it. Perfect place to be. Plus, if you can do the work yourself, I mean, you're saving so much. You're not just saving the hourly you'd pay somebody else. You're saving the taxes on that, the WSIB comp. Yeah. You're saving the inefficiencies, the breaks. There's so many things that you're saving. Exactly. And you're also setting an example as you build a team of the quality that you expect. Exactly. Right? On your own company, when you replace yourself, they know what you expect. Exactly. And then I was even thinking, I can rent this out as a single family. Obviously not cash flow maybe at all, maybe a little bit, but I mean better than losing, right? So I knew I had those backups. So I said, you know what, let's do this minor variance, hope for the best. I have a pretty strong case that it'll get passed. And another thing, I was reaching out to other local Cambridge Kitchener real estate investors. I figured out that there is a duplex conversion down the street from me, literally down the street that they had the exact same setup as mine, and theirs got approved
without the minor variance.
Without the minor variance. And I brought that, and I asked the investor if I'm allowed to, use their property as an example, and she's like, yeah, go for it. And their excuse was, we made a mistake. We're gonna do a minor variance on her behalf, basically just correcting their mistakes.
Oh man. I don't want to say it, so I'm just not going to say. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, it was just basically just to show like the hoops you got to jump through. Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's still been a grand slam for a first project. And
where are you in that project? Are you
so
done?
That one's fully done, fully tenanted, top and bottom. We went through the whole construction process. Basically, we got permits after the minor variance and everything in November. And by February, March, we were done.
Oh, that quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you work your own job. You get stuff done quick.
Exactly. And the main floor, honestly, was spectacular. They laid new flooring, some laminate flooring before they sold, and they put in like quarter round for the baseboards, just like Home Depot quarter round. Didn't even paint it.
No baseboards, just quarter round?
No, they kept the original baseboards, but just to fill that gap, they just did quarter round. Didn't even bother painting it. So I knew I can just keep the baseboards, because the flooring was nice, like brand new laminate. It needed a nice paint job, walls and trim. So that's all we did. Sprayed the baseboards, nice paint job on the walls, and then we revamped the kitchen. Like we painted the cabinets, new countertops, new light fixture, and it honestly turned out spectacular. That's why it was a pretty quick renovation, because all we had to do was the basement. So basically, I already had all my trades lined up, ready to go. We just got held back by the minor variance. So when we got it, it was just go
plow right through it. So you had to smash up some floor for the drains.
Yep.
And other than that, it was just frame it all up, re-pour, and
split hydro.
Split hydro. That was probably the biggest job.
That was actually why we got a little bit delayed. That was the only reason.
But you did not actually split water, correct?
No water, no gas. So that's shared still.
Random tangent here. Hydro. When people call it hydro, that's such a Canadian thing. we all call it that. I mean, it's because hydro, water and electric are usually on the same bill.
Yeah.
So people started calling it hydro.
When I was a kid, every time I heard hydro, I was like, why? Like, I was confused. I was like, that isn't that water?
Yeah, hydroelectric is generating electricity from movement of water.
That's right.
So if you say that to Americans, they look at you very funny. What the heck is hydro?
What do they just call it?
Electric.
Electric bill.
Yeah, electric bill. Yeah.
Kind of easier.
Oh man. Anyways, okay. So what'd you end up paying for that place?
So we got it for $456.
$456. And what did your total reno, planning, and carrying cost?
So we'll just call it all in about $100.
Like $100 for all that?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the minor variance? Like $900 or something like that?
$1,200.
$1,200. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you did all the drawings yourself, just printing costs.
Yeah, that was another thing with the drawings. And then we're doing another duplex conversion right now, and I did the drawings again. So basically, a year of AutoCAD for $500. I did 2 full permit drawings.
Now, is it just like the creative element that you enjoy doing, or you find it easier to just think of it yourself and put it on paper?
Exactly. Yeah. So I know AutoCAD very well from my time in. I learned
so
it
it's your skill
school
already, right?
Yeah, and then in consulting, we used to do all the drawings and then do like custom details, custom structural drawings. So I said, this is the easiest way for me to plan everything, map it all out, add all my details, like, wall configurations, how I'm going to insulate and all that. And it was another way for me to like really master the project. Like I knew all the ins and outs of the project because I did the drawings too.
Your story sounds so similar to mine. Like just get your hands dirty. Just get your hands dirty. Get right in there.
Thing. Yeah. That's honestly the thing. If you have that drive, I honestly, it's been a great learning process.
Well, for me, it was similar. Like I just finished a teaching contract. I had very little else going on.
Right.
Like I still had my mortgage license, but I hadn't been active.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, so what am I going to do here? I think I'm diving in feet first, hands first, I don't know, head first, whatever. And went all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you did all that renovation. Was it like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit?
Yeah, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And like we tried to go like pretty high end.
So like quartz and
yeah,
nice
but like
spotlights.
the thinner quartz, like the 3/4 inch quartz, countertops.
3/4 inch, is that standard? Yeah, that's pretty standard.
I think like whenever you see like the Like
Well,
nice
they
flips,
do
it's
the
like 1
build up.
1/4. Yeah.
Okay, so I will just throw that out there. I never use the full thickness quartz. I always use the 3/4 inch, and then we just do the build up, like the bull nosing at the front. Like a good manufacturer supplier will know how to do that, and the savings is incredible.
Oh yeah, big time. And then we do because I have a good kitchen company from my time at my general contracting company that I was building apartments
so you've
for.
got some high profile contacts that
In the area,
that know you and
Yeah.
would trust you, know that you're not going to mess them around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I use my electrician from that company and my kitchen people. So instead of trying to mess around with like IKEA kitchens or whatever, we just got a full on custom kitchen right to the top. We even put some crown molding around it, so it looked sharp, like a very, very nice kitchen down there. And then just little things like double vanity. I just said to myself, okay, if I was in the stage of my life where I had to rent a basement, I want something nice.
Right. If you got to live in the basement, why wouldn't you just make it nice?
Yeah. So I could, because honestly, I could see myself, like let's say, you know, newlyweds, whatever. I'm moving in with my wife, no kids. I would love to live in the basement we made. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you just walk in and it's fresh, it's clean. The double vanity portion of itself, it just adds
Do you get
that
good
little
light down there?
What's that?
Good light down there?
Really good light.
Good windows?
Because we made huge windows.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is another no-brainer. I think I've said this before. Like, make your windows bigger. Just do it. Just cut them down long, like deeper, and make your wheel well nice and big, or window well nice and big, so that you've got lots of room.
So we had 47-inch wide windows, and the layout of the windows were perfect because each bedroom, the way I designed it, each bedroom had one, and the living room had it. So, and they were already 47 inches wide.
Okay, that's nice.
Not like they weren't deep at all. They were like 15 inches. So all we had to go was straight down, no engineering. No engineering needed, right? Because they already have headers.
Right, yeah. So some people might not be following that, but yeah, if you've already got the width on your window, it's a lot cheaper to just cut them down and you just get a bigger window that's taller.
Right. So I think we went almost 3 feet deep. Like I think we went about 32 inches deep. So massive windows. And my goal, and it actually worked out, everybody that came, they're like, wow, I didn't know I was in a basement. Like I actually don't feel like I'm in a basement. And I was like, okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted.
And windows are what does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Okay, so did you get it refinanced?
Yeah.
Okay, what was your value on the appraisal?
It came in a little lower than I thought it was going to come in. Still really good, but a little low. It came in at 705.
705.
I was thinking it should have been more 750.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are they going for now. I think in Hamilton they're almost getting up to 800,000 now, or 750. 750 for sure.
Kitchener they're going anywhere from 8 or like 780 to 850. Which is basically our next door neighbor.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you say that like it's a bad thing. You had 705, but at 80%, that's a $564,000 mortgage when you only have 556 into it. Yeah. So that leaves you with $8,000 back in your pocket.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, with all of it, I think we were a little bit closer to 564. So about 105, 108,000.
Okay.
Actually.
So you were basically break even.
Well, honestly, yeah. We did. When I crunched all my numbers, that's why I call it like 100% BRRRR. It was 100%, yeah, complete wash.
That's great, right? As long as you get that, if you get the full amount back, then you're really just limited by your time.
And I can't like, you know, I can't complain for the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What more can I ask for?
So you've got the skill set. It seems like you've got, you know, the analytical capability to size up the job, and then you've got the numbers side of things. You're crunching them, no problem. Yep. So it sounds like you're well set to proceed on your journey. Yeah. Have you built a team under you now that can do your renovations for you?
Yeah, so I have a independent contractor. So I'm looking to actually I incorporated my company, and I'm really looking to, because I've been diving in with like, you know, business books, real estate books, the Rich Dad Poor Dads and everything. Really trying to like build a team on payroll.
Yeah, but that's the best way to do it.
Exactly.
Especially if you're going to keep them busy. That's what I did. I just got full team on payroll. Yeah. Pay their WSIB, everything properly insured, all of it.
So that's you know, next steps. But for now, it's I have an independent contractor that I've kept them pretty busy since like November. Because like in between I flipped a house in Brantford. So he's a GC. Basically, yeah. He doesn't have any employees. He's more of a one-man show, but the guy has like 20 years experience.
Okay. So just a jack of all trades. Does a lot of the middle jobs for you, and then you just fill in with the electrician and your countertop supplier, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, all I bring in is my HVAC guy, electrician, plumber, kitchens, and me and him. And we got like a laborer, like a part-time laborer. We bring in sometimes. We basically can do the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great, man. So that was number one. You said you did a flip in Brantford. Are you lining up number two, or are you already working on it?
Yeah, we already started number 2. It's in a way nicer area of Cambridge, right by the 401. So that one actually we bought in November of 2020. But honestly, it wasn't even really, because basically that's when we started the renovations for
That's
the
when you
first one.
started the other, yeah.
Yeah. But what happened was it just looked too perfect to be true. MLS looked terrible. And both of these were actually on MLS. Okay. So the MLS ad looked very, very bad. You just saw white kind of spots everywhere on the walls. But when you got there, they literally patched the wall, sanded them, and just didn't bother painting it.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, from a distance, you're like, what the heck's going on here? But really, it just needed a paint job. That's it. The main floor just needed a paint job. So, and there was a flooding issue that the seller was very like open about. And there was even some quotes from like a well-known like basement solutions contractor in Cambridge to do the fix. So all we did was we took that quote, took it off the asking price, and submitted an offer, and we got it. The other thing was they wanted to close in March. I still, to this day, I don't know why they did that. They had listed in November to close in March, like minimum March.
Oh, wow.
Which I think really
put a lot of people off.
Yeah. In like the market blew up in like January, February. So if they literally just waited till February, they could have got way more. Like, to put it in perspective, we picked it up for $494. We got it appraised because I had to kind of do some funky financing. We got both the refinance of my first one, the finished one, and the just normal finance of my second one at the same time. The finished duplex got appraised at $705. This property that needed so much work got appraised at $642.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're similar?
It was literally similar. The first one had a garage, and this Hespler one doesn't even have a garage. But it's just because it's in Hespler.
Right, yeah, different
I mean?
area, different expectation. Before we get into that one, let's just go through what your rents look like.
For sure.
On the first one that you did there, like what kind of rents did you get?
So we rented the main floor, 3-bed, 1-bath for $2,300 plus hydro.
Okay, and then the downstairs?
The downstairs, the 2-bed, 1-bath, $1,900 plus hydro.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
you're getting a lot on that house, $4,200.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your taxes?
$3,500 a year.
Not bad. Insurance?
$1,200, about $100 a month.
And maintenance, it's pretty new, so budget 5%.
Yeah, I even went a little conservative, 10.
Okay. Hey, I like conservative. Let's see what it looks like at 10. Utilities. So you're paying water and gas. Yeah.
So I put $300 a month, even though it hasn't been that. I don't think that'll be like when water and gas is like at the highest.
Yeah. Okay.
But just to make
so
for
to
the
be
numbers,
conservative. Yeah. You're not. These numbers are super conservative.
Yeah.
Management, you got nothing because you're doing
I self-manage for now.
Okay. And then landscaping, what are you paying, or are you doing?
They cut their own grass.
They do their own.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And then miscellaneous, I usually just throw in $500.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you got it appraised at $705. So your cap rate there looks like it's around 5.19. Yep. Okay, so what kind of rate did you get on that mortgage?
1.5.
1.5?
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. Okay, so that's a payment of about $1,945 a month, and then you are getting cash flow of around $1,100.
Yep.
Even with those conservative estimates, like realistically, your maintenance shouldn't be as high as that. So if it's only 5%, then your cash flow is actually $1,300, and if your utilities end up being, say, only $3,000 or $2,500, now maybe we can even add another $100 onto your cash flow. So really good conservative numbers. This deal works every which way you look at it.
Yeah, it's been a huge blessing.
Your
for sure.
biggest investment is the sweat into it, but it's kind of like getting paid to go to school.
Exactly. You know, I spent $40,000 to get an engineering degree. This is paying off way better.
This paid you and taught you
Exactly.
so many practical skills.
Yeah.
Right. And nowadays it seems like it's so hard to get people to come work for you if you're not involved in the operation. So, I mean, just hiring in general, I mean, of course you can always go with GCs, but if you can kind of take this experience, be on site, and then you can really keep a close eye on the ones you like, the ones you don't, you can just start hiring, firing, and weed out your team into be a really good team that'll allow you to do a lot of these deals.
For sure. And just being a younger guy too on site, you already kind of get looked at like, you know, I got almost as much experience as your age, you know what I mean? Like, cause I was 27 at the time, like working on site, kind of managing the whole process. So when they see like you busting your tail on site too, and like, you know, you're carrying drywall and you're framing, and
you take away the excuses for them.
Exactly. So, you know, honestly, it's been good. And, you know, a lot of people like always recommend like, you know, like delegate everything, which obviously eventually
you work towards it. Yeah.
You work towards it. But at the beginning, I wouldn't go back and change it.
People do it too soon, I would argue, because they'll delegate something they don't understand. And when you delegate something you don't understand, that's dangerous.
Yeah. Because you're just kind of just telling them, I trust you, just do it.
Like when people just jump to have their property managed right away. And I can't really knock it because it does work for people. Yeah. But if you don't know the basics that go into property management, how are you going to know if that man or woman is blowing smoke?
Big time.
You won't know.
For sure.
Yeah, they're making excuses and you won't completely know. So for me, one of the most valuable things I did was be right on site working alongside with my workers to learn. Yeah.
That like whatever stage you are like in construction, like the more time you spend on site, just talking to people, you're
just gonna learn, right? Yeah, I had some people like the one guy, like he came up to me, he's like, hey, you need to stop saying this. He's like, that's not, because I was saying everything's level. Oh, is that column level? He's like, no, a column is plumb. You know, a table is level.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, like, so I had some people like kind enough to do that, but I think I really did my best to just sell anyone I was working with on, look, like I'm an investor, this is what I'm doing, I've got the business side of this handled, and I want to grow together, and kind of put it to them. And then I showed them with, you know, made up for any of my lack of knowledge with being in their face all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't perfect, never is. You just kind of have to keep working through it.
For sure. And even like just kind of like, you know, words of motivation for anyone listening too, like you're going to, whatever problems that come up too, like, especially if you're doing like buy and holds, it's so easy to kind of get through those huge, at the time you think like, you know, the world's kind of collapsing. Like for example, on my first one, we walked in one day, I came into work on a Monday and I just saw like condensation on the windows. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? I turned the corner to go downstairs. There's like 4 inches of water everywhere. Like everywhere. We had a complete flood in the basement. And this is literally like, we're basically hanging drywall. And this happened, you know? Yeah. And again, it's like one of the best things to happen during the construction process, because I learned that, so what happened was the roots from the neighbor's tree had grown into the drains, not on the city side, on my side, but outside.
Like the sanitary drain?
Yeah.
So you had sewer water up in your...
Yeah, but it was clean. Because what happened was I was working on a Saturday, finished like hang some dry, whatever, used the washroom, flushed the toilet, left. The dual flush of the toilet was a little sticky.
Oh, so it was running?
So it was just running constantly. So there was a block down, like further down the line, and it just came back, and up all through all the drains inside.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point where if I'm going to keep a property that has an old sanitary line, just get it lined.
Yeah.
I've been on the fence with it. Do I maintain it? Do I do it? Do I cut out the roots every year? Or do I get it lined? And it's come back to bite me in the butt many times by not doing it.
But I never even thought of it, right? So that was like imagine like I was like, you know, telling like my wife, like imagine like the tenants had moved in like that week, you know, and this happened, right? So it could have been so much more worse, and we had very minimal damage. You know, we lost some tools, we lost like some sheets of drywall, but other than that, like,
did it soak the bottom board on your walls?
Not really, because we had the vapor barrier so high
that
it didn't really do much. It didn't get like up and over. Some areas we did, but we just got dehumidifiers. Didn't get in
your insulation. Usually I end up cutting out like, you know, the bottom 1 foot or whatever.
Yeah, we did have in some areas, you know, water got higher than others. So yeah, we had to reduce a little bit of insulation and stuff. But overall, with the dehumidifiers, just dried the whole place out. And you know, but it was because of that I learned how to, you know, check your lines, We even put in a backflow preventer, which might save something in the future from happening, right? So it was you think at the time this is the worst thing to happen, but it was a learning experience. You know, you learn something from that as well.
And the thing I noticed from people who've been in this a long time is they don't get worked up over those things.
Exactly.
And I think the main reason they don't is because, well, one, they've seen it before, but two, they've budgeted for the unknown, right? Like, what if you just have a $5,000 what if fund, you know, just in case fund?
Yeah.
If that lets you sleep at night, I think it's all about breaking down what is my fear, what's stopping me, and just figuring out a remedy for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is too with the if you include that in your budget, it almost like mentally doesn't even seem like it's that bad, right? You're like, oh, I had to budget it, right? So no, it's been honestly I haven't like loved my job as much now than I ever have.
Same thing happened to me. Yeah. Very first project, I'm like, this is what living feels like. I can't believe I spent my other summers, you know, cooped up in an office where I'm out here. And granted, I had lots of stress with it too. Right. But I'm like, I would much rather this kind of stress, you know, because it was like, it felt like I was working towards something. It was gratifying. But just on that last topic there about budgeting for the unexpected, I had one of my trades, he did his own flips too. And he's like, I don't get it. He's like, no matter what happens, every one of my projects goes over budget by about $2,000, but it's always something different. I'm like, did you ever think about just throwing a $2,000 miscellaneous budget in your renovation budget? He's like, huh, like that's actually a good idea.
There you go, contingency. That's it, you're done. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that seems so simple, but I mean, I think sometimes people, I've heard the quote, if you're in your own fog, it's foggy. Right. Sometimes you just need somebody else to just come out and give you a perspective, and there you go. Yeah. Okay, so what's the greater picture for you here? Like, I know you started this, obviously it was kind of sink or swim because you didn't have a job anymore. Yeah. So what's your active income strategy now? Because so far I've just heard BRRRRs.
Yeah. So we started with the incorporated company doing work for other people.
And where do you find these people?
Just, you know, getting my name out there, Kijiji, Facebook groups, stuff like that. People have been reaching out. I want to lean more towards helping investors. Yeah, that's kind of where I want to be at, just because I feel like they have the same mindset as me, so it's just easier to kind of.
Well, and there's more value placed on the long-term relationship, whereas homeowners and stuff, like, they don't get how to deal with contractors, and they might not treat you that well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we're leaning towards right now. I'm doing, like, you know, bigger scale, but still like renovation type projects just for active income. Like, I'm not paying myself right now, but like through the company, like through dividends, whatever. That's what I'm going to do for now, but really just trying to build up the company at the same time, just keep going with building my portfolio, and started doing like stock options trading for a little bit more cash flow. And
whose course did you use?
I used Cody A's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always curious.
Yeah. His no knock on anybody else's, but like Cody's was just shout out to Cody.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
But no, it was honestly very, 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 very good course, and it's been a huge upside in life.
Awesome. Yeah. So so that's part of your income strategy. Are you doing that through your company?
No, personally.
See, it'd almost be worth, I mean, just a consideration, maybe talk to your accountant about this, but I mean, from a mortgage standpoint, if you want to qualify for mortgages in the future, it's important that you have consistency in your dividends. So this year you want to start off with the first good sized dividend, because then you're going to have another one next year. Yeah. And then that's your 2-year track record to qualify for mortgages. Yeah. So if you can run more through the company, it will look better to lenders in general, just from a mortgage broker standpoint.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So maybe something to talk to your accountant
about.
Yeah,
definitely. I'll talk to my accountant. I don't know. Yeah, I never even actually thought about that, because like right now I just have you can make a business account, you can make a personal account.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my mind, and I don't think enough people put enough emphasis on this. When you go self-employed, you need to make decisions that are specifically thinking of what will a lender think when they see this. Yeah. And for me, whether I had a huge year in sales or a lower year or whatever, I just pay myself the same. Right. Consistency is something that they like to see.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, because I thought of that too, because another thing is I really fell in love with like the flips as well. I don't want to divert 100% into that by any means, but the flipping is a big passion of mine too. 'Cause my wife's an interior decorator, so kind of hand in hand works out where, you know, she picks all the finishes of all of my projects, and I kind of just get it done. And then I was thinking of, you know, I still have to talk to my accountant with how to do that with the company to kind of bring in some more income to the company so I can pay myself through dividends and then still help with my mortgage qualifications down the road.
Yeah, I would just say try and talk to your accountant, find out what you can centralize in that company, because then that can really help you.
Yeah, so it's still fresh, but it's just escalating. It's just really building, and it's
awesome,
been a fun process.
Yeah, so just and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but the Kijiji ones, how have they been?
Honestly, they've been pretty good. So
you had people reach out to you based on your ad. You put an ad?
Yeah, I put an ad, and then my independent contractor has an ad as well. So it's been lately, honestly, it's been really good. I think because so many contractors are trying to burn these types of clients. If you're just like upfront with them, you're nice with them. You're like, listen, I'm not just like a one-man show. I run a business. I'm not going to be your cheapest person, this and that. And you're just upfront with them. It helps. But you do run into people that like, I completely wasted my time quoting I didn't even end up quoting it. She had a 2,000 square foot basement area.
Okay.
That she wanted to do all the flooring. Some of it was finished. She wanted to paint it, all the flooring, and then I had like 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a bathroom. But a big chunk of it was finished, so we didn't have to do that. But and then I just kind of stopped her. I was like, "What do you think like this type of project's gonna cost?" She's like, "Oh, I was hoping like 20,000-30,000." And then I was like, "You realize you have like 2,000 square foot just flooring? Let's just talk flooring." And I just broke it down like that to her, and you know, she was just completely out to lunch, like just have no idea of the intensity of these. So yeah, eventually, like, I don't want to be working with just homeowners.
Well, it's great if you have people who understand the ballpark
exactly
of the cost, what goes into it, right? Like just like what I just described, I would happily hire a GC to just do things for me if I felt like I could trust them to do it and the price was fair. Yeah. So I mean, I am open to that. So I think it's just key that investors, they know it, they get it, they know it's a business expense, it's part of their overall profit picture, and they're willing to pay it.
Yeah, that's why definitely leaning towards just helping investors. The nice thing with these like smaller like basement renos, you know, complete bathroom redos, again, it is more practice, more projects under our belt, and it's basically we have basically work lined up until end of September, and that's when my other duplex conversion is going to end. So then we can really like, it'll be fall, October time, and just kind of regroup and just really take the company in the direction I want to take it.
Okay, so what's something, I'm gonna put this back on you, because I don't think I've had anyone else on this show that's kind of done the model I did, with starting their own construction company to do their own projects and then also do some others. What's something you've learned that you wish that other investors would learn, or you would care to share with them that they've learned in this experience you've had?
Okay, I think a big one would be if you're gonna hire a GC, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm sure a lot of people have been burned from GCs, but I think you have to, what I've learned in the industry is you have to trust the person to an extent until they do you wrong. That was a big one that I learned.
I've tended to teach people the opposite.
Oh, really? In a sense where you're not just writing blank checks for people, but if somebody has a good track record.
But how would you know? So John investor wants to hire a contractor. How's he going to know if that contractor has a good track record or not?
I mean, through references. So
you're going to ask them for references?
Yeah, ask for references, check their Google reviews. Do they even have a website?
Okay, what if they don't have any of that? They're just off Kijiji.
Then again, if I was an investor, asking other investors who they've used.
Yeah, okay. So in that case, that's different.
Yeah.
I look at a referred anything as entirely different than somebody I just found. Like I would take a referral 20 times versus, or 19 times out of 20. We'll call it that. Yeah. Unless there was an obvious reason to go with a non-referred.
Yeah. I just, that has helped me out.
So trusting people a bit.
Trusting people in a sense where like,
if there's evidence to suggest you should trust them, but then you still want to limit your exposure, right? Yeah. So how do you trust and limit exposure?
So you trust as in like, I don't want to act like I'm superior than them and I have like authority over them, in a sense where like, listen, I need this done by this date. You know, I trust that you're going to get it done at that date. And obviously if they don't, then they're breaking their trust, right? That's kind of how, I've modeled like with my trades, and honestly, I've used the same trades for basically all my stuff.
So if they tell you something, you believe them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's fair. I guess it depends if timing is of the essence, right?
Yeah.
For me, it always has been on my student projects.
Yeah.
So if timing is of the essence, do you have the flexibility if they aren't on time? So I haven't been able to give that much leeway in those type of projects.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. You know, especially if people give you a reason to believe, they show you a track record, they came well recommended.
Yep.
Those are all things I quantify and take into account. I think you probably heard me say I do milestones, not deposits. So, you know, if I have to buy the material up front, I will give a deposit to a trade that I've worked with for a long time. If they just say, well, we just need it to get started, big deal.
Yeah.
There's not a black and white answer there, but generally speaking, with somebody new, if I don't have a track record on them, or if I don't have an existing referral on them, I don't do deposits. I'm just like, okay, we're going to work together. We're going to follow each other very closely here. And if it's a win-win, we'll continue and I'll pay you for what you did. Yeah.
Like, for example, like my HVAC guy that I use in Cambridge, he has about 35 years of experience with ductwork, furnaces, all that stuff. And now he's running his own show. I don't even know how many years he's been doing his own company. But he because of that mutual respect, where I respect his experience and I actually want to learn more about HVAC through him. Obviously, I did my due diligence with getting multiple quotes and stuff like that, but he treated me so right, and in turn, I treated him so right that like he did extra stuff above and beyond and didn't even ask me, for extra money or anything like that. It's just because he knows when I do another one, I'm going to call him again. Right? For example, like our furnace was acting up. He came out of his way, cleaned the entire furnace, and figured out that there was like a piece of plastic in the blower and it was making it malfunction. And because he had to do that, he's just like, I cleaned the furnace for you. Right? It's just stuff like that like, so why am I going to, in turn, like he gained my trust.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's that type of thing.
But you have to trust your gut with people, right?
Trust your gut, yeah.
I mean, I trust my gut with people. It doesn't mean I'm going to write them a $10,000 check and say, hey, hang on to this for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's like a lawyer's trust account. And then I might leave a couple $100,000 sitting with them.
For sure. Like, be smart with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they haven't done anything to do you wrong, don't treat them like they're going to do you wrong.
Oh, well, no, I think you need to treat people with respect. And the conversation is always like, hey, this is nothing on you. This is just something I've had to do in my business. To be fair to everyone, this is how I do it across the board. And just kind of like relate it. Hey, it's past experience for me. I do have a pretty good feel. I have a good feeling about us working together. I just like to take these precautions to do good business. It's all about doing good business together. And I think most people can get on board with that. It's all how you say it, how you sell it, right?
For sure.
Some people say they don't like sales. Man, everyone sells. Everyone. Your kids sell you on why you should buy them a treat in the store. It's all there. So, okay. So,
sorry. No, I was gonna say too, with me, for example, with me being a real estate investor and running my own construction company, if I were to work with other investors, it would kind of come hand in hand. It's like, listen, like I own rental properties. I want the best for you because, I want this property to be on budget and on time. That's the biggest things. Right. So kind of give me that leeway where, I know what I'm doing. Like you have to trust in them that they know what they're doing until they prove that they don't. That was my biggest thing that I've learned.
Okay. Interesting. What I mean? Give me your assurance on this, that when your phone explodes after this interview, you'll give me priority.
That's right. Yeah, you got it.
All right, yeah. I might actually need your help with something, so we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, I was going to pick your brain a little bit too, because it's interesting we got similar stories, so I always look for people with experience.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Well, no, you've definitely got a business model. Like I think there's a lot of room for contractors that are also investors in this space. It's complementary. You're doing the type of project. You can do it. You can do it for other people too. I think it's a great business, and it's very, again, complementary to what you're doing.
Even my coach right now, I have a mentor. Same thing. He owns he's a contractor as well, real estate investor contractor. So kind of the same thing. That's why I reached out to him. And yeah, just that's another big thing that I've learned is get a coach, get a mentor.
Find good influences. That'll just help you along the way so much faster.
Big time, yeah.
Okay, where do people reach you if they want to follow you?
So Instagram, at Poladian Construction. Okay. You can add me on Facebook, just my name, Ara Poladian. Or do we give out numbers here?
You can.
Yeah. Call or text 519-716-4599. And then work email is just palladianconstruction@gmail.com.
Okay, so I'll put a few of those links in your description, or sorry, in the show notes of this episode, so people can find you.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, thanks for coming on. It was an interesting perspective. Again, I don't think we've had this on the show, other than just me babbling on about it all the time. So really appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing how you progress with these new projects.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Please make sure to share this episode far and wide. Help it help more people. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks. I'll see you on the next one.